Blues and jazz music is such a huge part of African American history. It proves that through the toughest times, people can come out stronger on the other side. Welcome to Music for the Soul. The origin of the word jazz has resulted in a huge amount of research and history that is very well documented. By the 18th century, slaves gathered socially at a special market in the area, which later became known as Congo Square. People went there for dances and music. It was actually popular, or it was actually famous for its African dances. In most jazz performances, singers played solos, which they actually made up a lot of it on the spot, which I think is an incredible talent to have. There is a tremendous variety in jazz, but most jazz is rhythmic and has a forward momentum, which is called swing, which uses bent or blues notes you can often hear in call and response patterns in jazz, in which one instrument, voice, or part of the band answers another. Jazz is not, and never has been, entirely composed and predetermined music. For all of its approaches in varying degrees and endless variations, and yet despite some of these things have some confusion to it, jazz seems to be one of the music genres that is instantly recognized and distinguished as some separate form of all other forms of musical expression. Jazz is characterized by swing and blues notes, call and response vocals, polyrhythms, and improvisation. Jazz actually originated in the late 19th century to about the 20th century as versions of American and European classical music, intertwined with African and slave folk songs, as well as the influences of West African culture. Many of its earliest composers were Aaron Copland, John Alvin Carpenter, and Igor Stravinsky. These guys were drawn to jazz because of its instrumental sounds and tones that have unusual effects and implications of jazz music, and its syncopations, completely ignoring or at least underappreciate the extemporized aspects of jazz. Here are some examples of those composers. Its composition and style has changed so many times throughout the years with the performer's personal interpretation and their ability for improvisation. But actually, that's all I have for you this episode. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Music for the Soul.